Hello friends online, welcome to participate in the 14th anniversary of the acquittal of Tai Ji Men in response to the International Human Rights Day. I'm Julia, today's host. Taiwan is a democratic country. Everyone should have a right to freedom of religion. You can choose what you like. People's religion and human rights cannot be infringed, but Tai Ji Men has suffered political persecution for 25 years. Next, we invite today's speaker, Jaicy, to talk about the Tai Ji Men case and its impact on her.
Hello everyone, I'm Jaicy. It's my honor to share my story. I'm a dizi of Tai Ji Men. My freedom of belief and human rights have been seriously violated by the Taiwan government. You may be surprised to know that Taiwan is known as a beacon of democracy and freedom in Asia, isn't it? Freedom of belief is guaranteed by our constitutional law and the United Nations Human Rights Covenant. But in Taiwan, people appear to have freedom of belief. But in fact, land intended for Tai Ji Men self-cultivation center was illegally seized, illegally offered for auction, and then illegally confiscated by the government in last August. The government has been using tax weapons to discriminate and persecute my freedom of belief for 25 years. I hope everyone can help us to speak out. Inspired by my Tai Ji Men shifu, Dr. Hong, I have been a volunteer for the United Nations NGO since I was a child, promoted human rights education trends in schools, and promoted the movement of an era of conscience in various places. One day, a passerby asked me, "Is it working?" I smiled and said, "If you do it, there is hope." Although I sometimes feel tired, I'm always energized by Dr. Hong's love for the world. And through my personal involvement, I realized that a good society does not happen out of thin air, but requires more good and brave people to do good things together. I'm thankful that Dr. Hong has enhanced the value of my life. Under the system of Taiwan, the Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy is a non-profit group of Qigong, martial arts, and self-cultivation. The mentorship between shifu and dizi and the red envelope to the shifu are traditional cultural heritages. According to the law, red envelopes to the shifu is a gift of tax-exempt income, so Tai Ji Men has no tax problem. However, 25 years ago, Prosecutor Ho Kwan-ren, in collaboration with the tax collector, committed perjury and issued 6 years of huge illegal tax bills based solely on the amount fabricated in Prosecutor Ho's indictment. From then on, Tai Ji Men shifu and dizi became tax slaves, constantly in a painful cycle of judicial remedy. Although the criminal division of the Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men not guilty of fraud, tax evasion, or violation of tax codes, the National Taxation Bureau only corrected the tax bills it had left against Tai Ji Men to zero, except the year 1992, and transferred land intended for the construction of a Tai Ji Men self-cultivation center as payment of the taxes for 1992. Which should not have existed in the first place. This completely violated the principle of consistency. It also abuses the media to smear Tai Ji Men and persecute the human rights of tens of thousands of families of Tai Ji Men. It is heartbreaking to know that the people of Taiwan have earned their democracy and freedom with blood and tears. But now, a few rogue officials are destroying it. The Tai Ji Men case has been rescued 3 times by the Control Yuan and classified as a major human rights protection case by the Control Yuan, but why it has not yet been truly vindicated. Experts and scholars have pointed out that, first, the bonuses system tempts officials to commit crimes, and second, rogue officials cover up the truth in order not to be held accountable. With regard to the first point, the bonus system tempts officials to commit crimes. Compare this with Section 1024 of the U.S. Taxpayer Human Rights Protection Act, specifically stipulates that IRS management cannot approve that performance of tax officials based on the amount of tax collected, nor can they set tax collection quotas or targets for tax officials. However, not only is this not prohibited by the Taxpayer Rights Protection Act in Taiwan, but the Ministry of Finance even sets aside $130 million in tax incentive payments without legal basis each year, which is obviously against the practice of advanced democratic countries and is a blatant conflict of interest. So many people in Taiwan have become victims of tax violence. And this year, the Ministry of Finance announced that extra tax revenue has been collected over $300 billion by October. Therefore, I would like to call on the Legislative Yuan to abolish the tax incentive. With respect to the second point, the National Human Rights Commission of Taiwan was set up in the Control Yuan last August and recently held an event for International Human Rights Day 2021. The chairman Cheng said, "I deeply review, reflect, take seriously the international criticism of us. We will improve it when it is in line with the universal human rights values of the international community." However, CAPLC, an NGO with special consultative status at United Nations Economic and Social Council, filed a written statement to the 47th and 48th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council. Therefore, I would like to make an appeal to President Cheng that Tai Ji Men case has received global attention. Please ask the Control Yuan to restore the truth of Tai Ji Men case as soon as possible, vindicate the Tai Ji Men case, and impeach these offending officers in order to prove that Taiwan is a human rights state. It has been 25 years. I've gone from being an elementary school student to a mother. I will never give up on the road to vindication. I will take my children to Kaitegalan Boulevard again on this December 19th and hope that Tai Ji Men is the last victim. Taiwanese are not slaves, but brave defenders of human rights. Go, Taiwan!
After listening to Jaicy's sharing, I admire her for her bravery and selfless dedication. The movement of an era of conscience promoted by Tai Ji Men can make everyone's heart full of love, and the world will become a better place. The government should allow such a great group to be able to pass on the inheritance. The best way is to abolish the tax bonuses and stop letting greedy officials persecute Tai Ji Men. Next, let's watch a video where many experts and scholars and Tai Ji Men disciples speak up for justice at Taipei Economic and Cultural Association in San Francisco.
Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 have sought justice from Taiwan's government through live protests and virtual forums.
Stop violating Tai Ji Men's human rights!
So the Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy case started in 1996, and it was persecution on spiritual groups, and Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy was caught in the crossfire of all of that. Despite the Supreme Court of Taiwan's rulings that we're innocent and tax-free, a few rogue bureaucrats continue to send us tax bills, and even just last year in 2020, our land was illegally auctioned off.
The Tai Ji Men case has also garnered support from scholars around the world.
And in Taiwan, the long-running attack against the Tai Ji Men community by bureaucratic despots within the tax administration have led many religious freedom experts around the world to condemn this form of administrative religious persecution.
The abuse of the National Tax Bureau has lasted for almost a quarter of a century. I call upon the Taiwan government to honor the law, the sentences passed by its judges, and the moral responsibility it has to watch over and protect all its citizens equally, as determined by its own mandate.
A breakthrough in the case occurred when the principal witness, on whom the prosecutor based his tax evasion accusation against Tai Ji Men, told a journalist that the prosecutor oversaw the case and that the witness testimony was merely a formality. The witness revealed that illegal tax bills were issued to Tai Ji Men at the request of the Investigation Bureau's City Field Office. Sheng accepted this interview when seriously ill and revealed that he was pressured to do what the prosecution told him to do. Although he has since passed away, Tai Ji Men is hopeful that his testimony will provide the evidence needed to obtain justice.
It proves that what happened was not a mistake. There was no mistake. It was a deliberate framing of Tai Ji Men for obscure motivations through false documents, false accusations, and a false tax investigation that never happened. Now, if this is not enough to reopen the Tai Ji Men case and cancel the 1992 tax bill, give back to Tai Ji Men their sacred land, I don't know what more is needed. It's a general principle of the law all over the world that when new elements emerge, even final decisions can and should be revised. Revision is a fundamental principle of justice.
So far this year, the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 has presented messages to representatives from TECRO, the Taiwan Economic and Cultural Representative Office in San Francisco and Washington, D.C.
We're Tai Ji Men members in the United States. We conveyed our message to Taiwan's Representative Lai in San Francisco.
We have just conveyed our message to Taiwan's Representative Xiao in D.C.
So far, there has been no response, but the Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 continue their activism in person and online, where scholars continue to voice their support for the cause.
The government of Taiwan should do the right thing and eliminate the tax from 1992, which is just absurd considering what has happened for 1991 and the other years, and to restore the property that was unlawfully seized.
The difference with Tai Ji Men is that they fight. And perhaps it's not too much to say that they're fighting to preserve Taiwan as a democratic country that follows its own laws and stifles corruption in bureaucracy.
Justice for Tai Ji Men!
Tai Ji Men members found overseas work in the U.S. from Taiwan, facing a fast-paced and high-pressure environment. It is difficult to achieve a physical and mental balance if you don't cultivate your own mind and nature by practicing Qigong in Tai Ji Men. It is also very important to find a place to rest your soul. I hope that the San Francisco Taipei Economic and Cultural Office can convey our appeal to President Tsai. Next, Let's listen to Mr. Thierry Ballet, the chairman of French Freedom of Conscience Association and the Personal Coordinating Committee, condemning the attacks on the real estate of a few religious groups.
Bonjour, je suis Thierry Val, je suis le président de la coordination des associations et des particuliers pour les libertés de conscience. Cette organisation a été créée il y a plus de 20 ans. Aujourd'hui, elle a un statut consultatif spécial auprès de l'ONU. Elle est enregistrée auprès du Parlement européen et elle fait partie de nombreuses plateformes défendant la liberté de religion. L'affaire Tai Ji Men a révélé les failles fondamentales de l'État, de droit et la façon dont le pouvoir de l'État a été détourné ou même abusé. L'esprit de la loi est de restaurer la justice et de régler les différends dans la société. Cependant, dans le cas de Tai Ji Men, le pouvoir de l'État a été utilisé pour discriminer les membres de cette organisation. La justice a été rendue à Tai Ji Men devant le tribunal pénal, mais le bureau des impôts continue de hanter les hommes de Tai Ji Men avec des demandes fiscales invalides. En cas de différend entre l'État et le peuple, le bénéfice du doute doit revenir au peuple. Le règlement des différends devrait favoriser le peuple lorsqu'il n'y a pas de preuves claires étayant l'accusation par l'État. Un différend de 24 ans, avec toutes les preuves en faveur de Tai Ji Men, est clairement un déni de l'esprit de la loi. L'utilisation du pouvoir de l'État doit suivre un processus juridique strictement défini pour faire respecter la justice et protéger les droits de l'homme. Les représentants du gouvernement ont violé de nombreuses dispositions de procédure régulière dans l'affaire Tai Ji Men, juste pour en nommer quelques-uns. Les demandes fiscales découlant d'un acte d'accusation illégal, avec enquête en bonne et due forme, du Bureau des impôts constituent une violation de la procédure légale. La reconnaissance des faits par le tribunal pénal et le ministère de l'Éducation rejetée et remplacée par la reconnaissance arbitraire du Bureau des impôts constitue une violation de la procédure légale. L'ancienneté des documents et la falsification des résultats de l'enquête constituent une violation de la procédure légale. Une application incohérente de la loi constitue une violation de procédure de la loi. Le traitement discriminatoire contre les hommes de Tai Ji Men est une violation du processus de la loi. L'absence de recours dans le système. Les droits des contribuables ne sont pas bien protégés dans le régime fiscal. Les résultats des recours ont toujours été en faveur du Bureau des impôts avec un taux de réussite disproportionné. Taïwan n'est pas un membre de l'ONU. Il n'y a aucun moyen de faire appel de cette affaire devant la Commission des droits de l'homme de l'ONU. Il n'y a pas de cour asiatique comme en Europe avec la Cour européenne des droits de l'homme. Par conséquent, il n'y a aucun moyen de faire connaître cette affaire en dehors de Taïwan. Que pouvons-nous suggérer pour remédier à cette situation? Malgré le veto chinois à toute demande d'adhésion, Taïwan applique à la lettre les recommandations de l'ONU et fait même figure de bon élève en matière de protection de l'environnement, des soins médicaux, d'éducation et d'énergie verte. Ne pouvons qu'encourager le gouvernement de Taïwan de respecter les recommandations de l'ONU et de respecter la Déclaration universelle des droits de l'homme sur l'article 7. Tous sont égaux devant la loi et ont droit sans distinction à une égale protection de la loi. Tous ont droit à une protection égale contre toute discrimination qui violerait la présente déclaration et contre toute provocation à une telle discrimination. L'article 8. Toute personne a droit à un recours effectif devant les juridictions nationales compétentes contre les actes violant les droits fondamentaux qui lui sont reconnus par la Constitution ou par la loi. L'article 10. Toute personne a droit en pleine égalité à ce que sa cause soit entendue équitablement et publiquement devant un tribunal indépendant et impartial, qui décidera soit de ses droits et obligations, soit du bien fondé de toute accusation en matière pénale dirigée contre elle. L'article 11. Toute personne accusée d'un acte délictueux est présumée innocente jusqu'à ce que sa culpabilité ait été légalement établie au cours d'un procès public où toutes les garanties nécessaires à sa défense lui auront été assurées. 2. Nul ne sera condamné pour des actions ou omissions qui, au moment où elles ont été commises, ne constituent pas un acte délictueux d'après le droit national ou international. Et le plus important, l'article 18. Toute personne a droit à la liberté de pensée, de conscience et de religion. Ce droit implique la liberté de changer de religion ou de conviction, ainsi qu'à la liberté de manifester sa religion ou sa conviction, seule ou en commun, tant en public qu'en privé, par l'enseignement, la pratique, le culte et l'accomplissement des rites. De plus, nous pouvons alerter les commissions des droits de l'homme des pays qui sont en relation avec Taïwan. Nous pouvons faire des signalements au Bureau des relations extérieures de la Commission européenne qui entretient des relations diplomatiques avec Taïwan et pour qui les droits de l'homme sont une priorité. Tai Ji Men souffre depuis plus de 24 ans de cette affaire. Bien que Taïwan soit considéré comme un pays démocratique, un système d'appel équitable n'a pas encore été en place pour protéger les droits de l'homme des civils. Que pouvons-nous suggérer? Dans les rapports 2016 et 2020, Taïwan rappelle son attachement à la liberté de religion, à la neutralité de l'État dans les affaires religieuses, et nous devons aider le gouvernement taïwanais à respecter ses engagements en matière de liberté de religieuse et de droit à la justice dans l'affaire de Tai Ji Men. La partie restante de la procédure fiscale contre Tai Ji Men est le résultat d'une campagne entreprise il y a plus de 20 ans, généralement considérée comme peu judicieuse et injuste, et depuis longtemps oubliée. Il viole également la liberté de religion et de conviction et le droit à participer à la vie culturelle, tel que protégé par le Pacte international relatif aux droits civils et politiques et le Pacte international relatif aux droits économiques, sociaux et culturels. Taïwan a gagné la sympathie de nombreux pays et organisations dans le monde pour la défense des droits démocratiques en Asie de l'Est et la gestion transparente et efficace de la crise du Covid-19. Il est grand temps que cette vieille situation soit résolue en garantissant aux membres de Tai Ji Men leurs droits humains et leur dignité et leur liberté de religion. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Thierry Vallet, for sharing. Compared with arrest and torture, the confiscation and destruction of real property is a very serious matter. Everyone needs a place where they can meet and cultivate their heart. But the NTB has illegally seized it, left us wondering, thus being restless and anxious. Tai Ji Men case is a fake case led by Ho Kuan-ren. The red envelope that is given to the shifu are traditional cultural heritages. According to the law, is a gift of tax-free income and should not be taxed. President Tsai, do you see our 25 years of hard work? Please improve the tax issue and give us a place for spiritual practice and gathering. Thanks.